Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
Buckeye Talk is about to begin. Hey, come on in.
Welcome back to Buckeye Talk. I'm Stephen Means. That's Stefan Krajisnik, and that is Andrew Gillis. I hope you guys enjoyed the Tuesday pod with Jimmy, where he was up in Ann Arbor, and we just kind of hit things from the Michigan side, which was essentially news and vibes. That's what the Tuesday and Wednesday pods are. They're news and vibes. We got news and vibes from the Michigan side because they talked on Monday, so we did that for Tuesday pod. And now it's the Ohio State side of things, of the news and the vibes. Let's start with the news, Stefan. They're Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate playing?
That is the question that we continue to search answers for. I guess we can do, since this pod is the first, I guess, Ohio State news pod, not just talking about Tuesday's press conference, but also what happened on Monday night. So let's give the whole timeline of things. Monday night, Ryan Day goes on 97.1 The Fan, does his weekly Buckeye Roundtable thing, and he's asked Carnell and Jeremiah trending the right way, which I thought was a good way to ask that question too. I think a lot of times
we should have been asking it that way this entire time.
Yeah. And he said they are trending the right way, and then he kind of did the thing of like, today was a rehab day. They're going to go to sleep, and then they're going to wake up, and we'll see in the morning. It's like that. Yes, that is how human beings function. Is at night we go to sleep, in the morning we wake up. Except unless you're working the third shift or something like that. Like, okay, most people go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, see how you feel. I kind of go through that like 90% of the year, where it's like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and just see how I feel, and then you kind of figure it out from there. Figure out the vibes. And then like 5 minutes after the tweets started making their rounds about what Ryan Day said on the show, on the Downs to Business podcast, which brilliant work by whoever their social media person is, /producer /whatever. Because I don't think it was Caleb and Josh Downs who were the ones finding clips to tweet from the Downs to Business podcast. I have a feeling that Caleb Downs and Josh Downs are not spending their weeks producing a podcast. Jeremiah Smith's going to be a guest on the Downs to Business podcast on Wednesday morning. So when you're done listening to this pod, then you can go over and listen to the Downs to Business. But don't leave yet. Don't leave yet, because we're gonna spoil the most important part.
No. Caleb's a competitor. Don't go over there. Stay here.
Jeremiah's a guest on the pod. On Monday night, they tweet the clip where it's Caleb asking Jeremiah, how are you doing? How are you feeling health-wise? Jeremiah says, I'm dealing with an injury situation, but I'm feeling good, and I should be good to go on Saturday. So that was all said before Ryan Day even took the microphone on Tuesday. Tuesday was kind of the same from him. We'll see how they're feeling. They'll go through it. I think he was asked specifically, like, are those two guys practicing? And I don't think he provided much of an answer. He said Lorenzo Styles was going to practice Tuesday. So that's a promising sign for his status on Saturday, even though Ryan Day didn't say whether or not Lorenzo was going to play on Saturday. There's at least, we know he's practicing. I don't think we know that answer for JJ and Carnell.
We do. He said both are going to get physical and mental reps this week.
Okay.
And then the name of Ryan Day doesn't say anything in front of a microphone on accident. That was a long-winded answer of saying they will be practicing this week. And then they'll get to the end of the week, and the medical staff will either go thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yes. And if you're an Ohio State fan, I think all you're saying to yourself is, I don't care what happens between Sunday and Friday. When the ball is kicked off Saturday, I hope those two guys are available. don't, yeah. Because I was thinking to myself as we were going to the presser, I was like, like JJ has now not played a significant amount of reps since the Purdue game, right? He played a little bit against UCLA, but hasn't played significant reps since Purdue. Carnell hasn't played significant reps since Penn State. And I'm like, is there maybe a little bit of like a catching up to do, or like maybe the passing attack isn't necessarily fully in rhythm since those guys haven't played, full onslaught of reps since early November. And then I'm like, if I'm an Ohio State fan, I don't care. Like, get me to Saturday, and if they play, they play. I don't care. I don't care if they haven't practiced since October. If they're playing on Saturday, I will be happy. So, yeah, it sounds like JJ's going to play. It sounds like Carnell's up in the air. This is all as of Tuesday afternoon. So we'll see. We'll be back in the Woody Wednesday night. We are doing our usual lightning round with Ryan Day. We will maybe see JJ and Carnell walking out the practice field. Maybe not. They've done a good job of hiding them the last couple weeks. So more updates definitely. We'll have at least one more update for our texters, 614-350-3315, before you fall asleep and only thing on your mind is Thanksgiving. So, yeah, we think JJ's playing. We're not sure about Carnell, and that is going to be the biggest question on Wednesday and on Saturday morning.
Okay, so that was news bullet point number 1. You kind of hit on news bullet point number 2, and that's that Lorenzo Styles, the plan is to practice this week. We'll see what happens, right? He kind of went to the same answer he did with JJ and Carnell of like they're working hard to get back on the field. He did say, however, that they did have faith in the depth that's been built behind him. That might be Bryce West as a nickel. That could be Jermaine Matthews playing nickel and Devin Sanchez playing outside. I mean, this also just might be a heavy 3 linebacker game, so it might not even be an answer then, and it might not even be a question that's worth asking if the nickel role wasn't going to play that much anyway. That's bullet point number 2. Bullet point number 3, Gillis. Josh Padilla was not on the availability report, but he did not play on Saturday against Rutgers. What did they say about his status? And also, more importantly, between he and Gabe Van Sickle, who is rotating with Tegra Shabola on Saturday?
Yeah. It is seemingly going to be a we'll see how it happens. We'll see what happens this week. We'll see if he's healthy. It sounded like Josh Padilla was going to practice, that he's going to be ready to go. But Ryan Day got asked straight up, like, is Josh Padilla good, and is he going to be that guy in the mix? And Ryan was like, we'll have to see how practice goes. So Tegra's going to start at right guard, and it seems like there's going to be one of the two at right guard in a rotation with him, Padilla or Van Sickle, because he said last week that he wanted 3, or he did not want 3, he wanted 2 in that rotation. So it seems good for Padilla to practice this week. If I had to place a fictional wager on that of who starts as the backup right guard, who's in that 2 deep, it's number 62. I think it's Josh Padilla. So it seems like it's him over Van Sickle.
So his answer kind of insinuate that if he's healthy, it's Josh, and if he's not, it's Gabe, or is that? It seemed more like a health thing than it was who was the better option conversation.
Yeah, because when it was like one of those things where Dylan Davis asked it, and I'm racking my brain now, and I believe it was like right after he asked the first question, he got an answer, and then Dylan kind of like threw in the second question of just like, is that going to be the rotation? And Ryan said like, we'll just have to see how it goes, which in my 2 years of understanding Ryan Day, as I understand that is a we'll see health-wise. That's not a we'll see the battle unfolding at right guard or right guard. I think it's going to be Padilla assuming health.
It sounds like maybe last week against Rutgers, it was like, do you want Van Sickle at 100% or Josh Padilla at like 70%? And maybe that's kind of what they're like. It sounds like Padilla's available, but is a iffy Padilla better than 100% Gabe Van Sickle? And that sounds like what they're balancing here.
Especially when what's the downside? Gabe Van Sickle gets 16 extra snaps under his belt of experience that can pay off later down the road. It's almost there's JJ and there's Carnell. I think that's one injury situation where like those are legitimate injuries. One maybe a little bit more serious than the other. One maybe more of a pain tolerance thing, but they're still serious injuries. And we don't have to spend another 20 minutes talking about the wide receivers here versus guys who are hurt. Do we need them to win this football game? And I don't know if they were playing Michigan last week. Do you think Lorenzo Styles would have came back in the game after they popped his shoulder back in place? Probably right?
They gave him his helmet right afterwards.
Right.
He had his helmet on.
But it's like, why do that?
Yeah.
When you don't have to do that. you can make sure he's good, and Bryce West can play 27 snaps. There was no downside to doing that, and you learn a little bit about Bryce West along the way. The same way with, sure, could Jeremiah Smith have played on Saturday? I don't think so. If they were playing Michigan, would he have played? 75% sure they were playing Michigan last week. At least JJ would have played. But why do that when instead you can learn about your wide receivers and JJ can spend another week healing up an injury? And so, okay, that's the injury report.
Let me pose a question, because I don't think we're going to talk about this much on our live show. So let's mark this down before we pivot.
Okay.
I won't make you pick a name, whether it's Gabe, whether it's Josh. That depends on the health. So let's not speculate. Just listen. Does anybody outside of Tegra? I won't say snap count. I'll do drives because that affects snap count. Does anyone outside of Tegra play more than 2 drives at Michigan?
Okay.
I say no. I think it's a heavy Tegra show.
I think I agree with you. I think that's why I ask.
I think you could convince me of, hey, 1, 2 Tegra, 3, let's say Padilla, 4, 5 Tegra, 6 Padilla. And it's like, all right, how many drives are you getting in a game?
2. That's 2 drives.
I know, but you get 2, and then it's like, all right, you're at 6. You have Padilla's gotten 2. At 6 drives, you're into the second half, and that game's close.
That's
I don't
why
know if you're going to want to keep that rotation going.
I didn't ask if it was going to be 1 drive. I asked, do you think someone plays? Okay, let's say 2 or more then.
2 or more, then yes, I do.
No. Stick to your original market down. You said, does anybody play 2 drives?
Yeah, I think it's more than 2. No, I think it's 2.
Okay, that was the question.
Yeah.
Does anybody play 2 drives?
You're saying yes. I think the question I originally asked was more than 2. I don't know. Someone's listening to the pod be like, "Do we just heard you say it? How did you forget it already?"
You said more than 2. So I think the answer is 2. I think the answer for Josh Padilla, if he's healthy, is he will play 2 drives and then nope.
But if it's Gabe, do you think it would be none then?
It's not going to be none.
That's a tougher one. I would say if you were to give me a choice, which is a better percentage chance of happening, 0 or 2 for Gabe Van Sickle, I would say 0.
So I was rewatching some games. I've been rewatching games all week. Some Michigan games. I rewatched Penn State game from 2022. Just looking at defensive stuff. And there was a point in that game where Joel and Gus were talking about how the week prior against Iowa, the first 10 drives of the game, CJ Stroud had thrown like 12 passes. And then they went the 5 drives after that. CJ Stroud was like 10 of 12. It's like, it was like some crazy thing of like, Ohio State had 10 drives and a half 3 years ago. And now you're like, I don't know, man. Are you going to get more than 6 drives in a game? The clock rules killed us, man. They literally killed us. I think someone's playing 2 because you're also trying to balance what gets the best out of Tegra Shabola. And I think the best out of Tegra Shabola is if you keep him under 40. And so whatever keeps him under 40, whether that's 2 or 3 drives, I guess let's see how many drives Ohio State gets. Because you start getting high 50s, then you're in trouble. That's the thing here, because I'll say yes, somebody plays more than 2. It's whether it's Gabe Van Sickle or Josh Padilla, because I don't, like, if the answer is no for Gabe Van Sickle, do we really want 65 plays of Tegra Shabola?
Probably not.
I've been watching a lot of different games the last couple of days, and I've been also listening to how people talked about games, whether it was us, other media outlets, and at some point, every single one of us after the 2024 game brings up Tegra Shabola's name as part of what went wrong. And sure, obviously, yes, it's been overstated at this point that the game plan was stupid. But there's a reason why the game plan was stupid, and it's not just because Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are good. It goes both ways, right? Because in 2023, Will Johnson had a pick, but would you have said, hey, you should stop throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. because Will Johnson is guarding him? No, you wouldn't have said that. Those things were equal. That was not equal. In fact, there was a significant gap between the talent that was Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham and what you had on your interior, which is part of what the problem was. So if our answer a year later after going, Tegra was part of the problem, is how about we play him 65 snaps after everybody has come to the agreement over the past 11 months that probably doesn't maximize him. I think that is a more dangerous game than throwing Gabe Van Sickle out there for a series, if you have to do that, or a second series or a third series. Because it's as much as it's about, don't have a stupid game plan, it's also put your players in positions to excel. And anything over 40 is not excelling for Tegra Shabola. He's just not built to do that. And it's fine. They have found a way around it that won them a national championship. So I'll say yes. I'll say that whether it's Gabe or Josh, somebody gets at least 3 series on Saturday.
I probably agree I'd probably lean kind of toward Gillis's thing of like maybe it is exactly 2 drives, right? Maybe it's one in the first half, one early in the second half. I was a little surprised by the answer though, because I think Steven, you and I, at least on the Monday pods, have been pretty adamant that like just stick with Van Sickle, and then when you get to the gap between Indianapolis and the playoff, reevaluate where Padilla is. Ryan's answer very much made it seem like if Padilla's healthy, like he will be the one who rotates with Tegra, which I think is kind of surprising because that's a guy who hasn't played since the Penn State game.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not like, you're not getting Paris Johnson back from injury. It's not like Josh Padilla was playing at that high of a level.
No, this is not Carnell Tate hasn't played in a month.
Right.
What's going to happen? It's like, oh no, he's going to shake the rust off over the next 3 days and be good.
So I thought that was maybe one of the more surprising things we heard on Tuesday.
I think because Gabe Van Sickle did not play well.
Yeah.
I think there is a different answer. Gabe Van Sickle played 16 snaps against Rutgers and he didn't look good. Like there were some things he didn't handle well. Right. When they would go throw some stunts and some twists his way, he just like didn't handle it well in pass pro. Which second year guy, he's from Michigan.
That's fine.
So it's not like he's like used to pass proing a lot. So it's an understandable place for him to be. But I think if Gabe Van Sickle had followed up the UCLA performance with another one of those against Rutgers, I think I'm not gonna say I wonder if Ryan Day would have sung a different tune. But he didn't play well, and again, you can't afford to be wrong.
Yeah. I think it also depends on what kind of drive it's going to be. Like if you want to do rotate, like, what are you thinking for your first 2, 3, 4, 5 play calls? Because say it's second quarter, the script is gone and the idea, the game might be a little different and game flow might be different. And I know what you're going to say, Steven, about game script and everything, but it's
like, do them. So it's not even,
but it's like, I say game script loosely. Like it's not like here's our first 10 plays. Here's our first 15 plays. It's like the game might be different. Maybe you're up 14-0 at that point. Maybe you're down 14-0 at that point. Like whatever it is, the game is going to dictate how that's called. And I think that's going to matter because Gabe Van Sickle, you mentioned his pass blocking against Rutgers. He had a pass blocking grade from Pro Football Focus of 17.8. Bad.
That's not good.
His pass blocking grades, the Grambling game is, it is what it is. But against Minnesota, 71.9 in the pass blocking, Purdue 55.9, UCLA 69. Like it hasn't been bad, and I think that bears out with what we watched. But I also, when you look at it, you see, okay, he allowed 2 hurries, or 2 hurries in the last 3 games, I should say. 1 hurry against Rutgers. I probably thought, going back, I would have to look at that specific play. It felt like he had 2. So I think that matters as well.
I don't know, because whenever they've rotated, it's been Gabe's coming in on the 3rd drive of the game.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's totally fair, but it's also Ohio State's down 10-0. Are you sticking with it?
I think
it's not because again, the other option is you keep Tegra Shabola for a 3rd straight drive and you're not getting the best out of him either.
Yeah.
That's like the point.
It's a tricky conversation, I think.
I don't think it changes by the comp. I think last week, Gabe Van Sickle played 16 snaps when they probably wanted him to play 30. But it didn't look good.
Yeah.
And you also needed to work out some things with your starting offensive line. I think they're going to have a plan and they're going to stick with it. I think the reason why Gabe Van Sickle has not looked good in pass pro, and I think they're going to throw the ball on Saturday. I think we've made too big of a deal of the weather situation. At this point, it's become too much of a thing where we're all, it might snow. This is not 2021. The mental makeup of this team is very different than it was in 2021. When in 2021, it was a bunch of young guys who hadn't been in that environment before, and it was just like a shell shock for them. They were not built like that. We've talked to these players for the past year. You think, Stefan, Arvell Reese is afraid of a little snow? You think Jeremiah Smith, even though he was born in Miami, is afraid of a little snow?
I saw him play against Tennessee. Looked pretty damn good.
All right. You think Bo Jackson is afraid of a little snow?
The kid grew up watching the Browns.
Cleveland.
JJ's from South Florida. He probably never saw snow. Last year, that playoff game is probably the coldest game he has ever played in his life. And did he look scared? It's just, and then the entire offensive line is all Midwest guys. The starters are 4 Ohio guys and a kid from Wisconsin. Like I get it. It's a fun thing to do, but I don't think Ohio State's going to come into this game and if it starts snowing in the middle of the second quarter, oh no, we can't play football anymore.
There's a difference between a blizzard and like flurries.
Yeah, it's
Right.
I think people see flurries and they're like, "Oh, Buffalo Bills." It's like, all right, dude, the Bills are playing through
If
13 feet of snow. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different.
It
if
might
I'm an
snow a
Ohio
little
State
bit.
fan or if I'm an Ohio State fan or Brian Hartline, I am much more concerned, or I would be much more concerned that there's going to be 30-mile-an-hour winds that day than snow.
Yes.
And
Like
there's not.
wind affects offenses more than precipitation. I think people
Yeah.
should know that. Just to go back to the right guard thing real quick, because I was kind of thinking about this as we were kind of talking there. Like, there is also an element of like, okay, Padilla's healthy. It's, do you feel comfortable playing somebody who hadn't played in a month? That he
Yes.
played 7 snaps against Penn State. It's, hey, I know Van Sickle didn't look great against UCLA in certain spots, but Josh Padilla, he played 7 snaps against Penn State. The last significant game that he played in, like, our significant snaps, was Wisconsin. And think about how long ago that feels. So
That's why.
it's,
Yeah, that's
and
why.
maybe the answer is totally, we're good. Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not worried at all. Josh
but
Padilla's our guy.
his answer by saying that it's health dependent and not necessarily, he didn't say, let's see if Josh Padilla is a little rusty. He didn't say that like, oh, we'll figure it out through
I
practice.
mean, he did say we'll see how the week goes.
Yeah, health dependent on his health.
It sounds
Was
like
the other
if
part of
Padilla's
that.
healthy, he's playing, which is
Yes.
why I said I think that was one of the more surprising things, because I don't think
Yes.
that's how we viewed this.
Yeah, he didn't go, oh, let's see how the week goes, and that was kind of it. And so now we're going, okay, well, they're going to battle it. No, let's see how the week goes, depending on his health. If Josh Padilla is healthy, I agree with you, Stefan. I think he's going to play. So the answer to, did they feel comfortable playing a guy who hasn't played against since the Penn State game? It sounds like the answer is yes. And to be fair, there's going to be a guy out wide who hasn't played against Penn State that they're also going to be doing this with. They're going to play the best players. So it was shocking to hear that, but I think that's it. We're all pretty confident JJ's going to play. It sounds like things are heading in the right direction for Carnell to play, and we'll find out on Saturday when the availability report comes out. I kind of shared some inside baseball with our texters last week, 614-350-3315, and that's just because I forgot to take something out when I copied it over there to them. We'll get the availability report. Sometimes we get it the night before. Sometimes we get it a few hours before it goes live. It just kind of depends. And it's always embargoed until 2 hours before. That's a conference-wide thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not just the Ohio State thing. That's how the Big Ten handles it. I know the SEC has their midweek thing, but the Big Tens, you'll get it. You can't report on it until 2 hours before. Sometimes Pete Thamel breaks that rule. And so then we can report that type of stuff, which is always fun for us because it's like, oh, we knew this information and we have to act like we're just like learning it along with the rest of the world. So we'll find out then how many of these guys are going to be available to play.
There's one more too that he got asked about. He did get asked about Will Kazmarek because I think people noticed he only played 7 snaps last week against Rutgers.
Yeah.
He played 12 the week before against UCLA. Ryan Day seemed to indicate he's fine. I believe the exact quote was looking forward to practice this week or looking forward to the game. We'll see too there because, I mean, that's obviously a notable part of what they've done this season in terms of what he can bring them in the blocking game and things like that. I had seen like a couple texters I think had asked about that like during the game maybe against Rutgers of just where's Kazmarek. He played 19 snaps in the last 2 weeks after playing from Purdue, Penn State, Wisconsin, Illinois, 46, 44, 33, 43. Pretty steep drop off. So it's pretty clear that something might be up, but it seems like he'll be ready to go for Michigan.
I think it's because he's been playing north of 40 snaps all season. And again, what do you need? And I mean, if you pay attention to what's been happening here, yeah, he's jipped down in snaps, but you know who's played north of 40 snaps the last 3 weeks? Max Clare. So I think Max Clare is coming along the way that maybe people thought that he would come along in September. Is just a little bit later. But also, they're going to need Will Kazmarek for a lot of the next, month and a half of games playing. So I don't know. Did you need to play your best blocking tight end more than 19 snaps the last 2 weeks? I'm not saying it's nothing, but I think it was. I think the way the way he talked about that was they have a lot of depth at tight end, and they took the advantage to use it the last 2 weeks instead of having Will Kazmarek go out there and play 40 snaps for 2 straight weeks when you don't need him to do that. And at the same time, Julian Sand and Max Clare built some chemistry. That's all I took that as. Like, because even if JJ had played the last 2 weeks, how many snaps would he have actually played if he was fully healthy?
Probably not more than 40 per game.
Like
combined,
like 40, like combined for the last 2 weeks, just because like
yeah.
like,
I don't know. He played 22 against UCLA while hurt. My guess is that if he was fully healthy, he probably would have played closer to 40 per game.
Yeah,
If
because
you
also
play 60 snaps, you figure 25, 30, play
Got
the
a
first
Heisman
half.
win.
and also JJ's. We watched him convince the coaches to let him play 2 weeks ago. Like we live and direct watched that negotiation happening with multiple coaches. So that's a different mental makeup, and that's not saying that Will Kazmarek doesn't fight to play. It's just they have to drag JJ off the field, just like they had to drag Marv away from the Monarch machine when he was here, because those guys are psychopaths. Okay, that's the news stuff. Let's take a break, pay some bills, and then we'll come back and we'll talk vibes here on Buckeye Talk.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Black Friday Game Day on Prime is an epic day of live sports. It all starts at 9 a.m. Eastern with the Capital One Skins game. Then, Black Friday football returns when the Bears take on the Eagles at 3 p.m. And it culminates with the final night of Emirates NBA Cup Group play with Bucks Knicks at 7 p.m. and Mavs Lakers at 10 p.m. Black Friday Game Day, only on Prime.
In Walmart's Huluville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
And we're back here on Buckeye Talk. Stephen Means, Stefan Krajisnik, and Andrew Gillis. We hit the facts, and now it's time for some feelings. Just think of the vibe, Stefan. Because that's the thing you and I talked about on our video, is just like, we wanted to see how he kind of just answered questions.
Mannerisms.
Yeah, like how would you if I asked Jimmy this coming off of Michigan's if you were a Michigan fan, or no, that's not what I said. What I said was, let's just pretend that you have already decided that you think Michigan is winning on Saturday. Based off what you heard from the coaches, did that make you feel more confident, less confident, or the same based off of that media availability and the vibes from that? So I'm going to ask you and Gillis the same question. Let's assume that you have already decided that Ohio State is winning on Saturday. Based on the way Ryan Day spoke on Tuesday, are you more confident, less confident, or the same?
I think more confident, because the way that the vibes were displayed were better than in years past, I felt. And if you think the result's going to be different, then you probably want things leading up to the game to be different. And it seems like that's where he is. It seems like, maybe this extends beyond just Tuesday's press conference. Would you guys agree with me that there is just a sense of confidence in the way that Ryan Day speaks that tells you this is a guy who is not wearing the pressure that he was before he won a national championship?
Well, that's probably the right way to put it.
And I mean it in a sense of, like, I'm not saying he's going up there being like, we are going to win, we are going to dominate. Like, it's not confidence in that sense, even though he did say that fun is kicking butt. But that was also like kind of just like, all right, he said fun is kicking ass. Yeah, which just rocks. That's a quote he's dropped a couple times now. He did it on the McAfee show, I think, going into the Penn State game. Just like, good for you, Ryan. You've like, that is his catchphrase now, I guess. Fun is kicking ass. But I think in terms of vibes, it's just, it was good on Tuesday. He was himself, which I don't think he normally has been during Michigan week, right? He was, answering questions in a coach speak way at times, answering questions in just a Ryan Day way at times. He was also laughing. Like, Doug Lesmerises asked him, hey, I know how important routine is for this week. It's what they've talked about a lot. But, like, is it different the way you guys talk, or like the clips you show to the team, stuff like that, like the messaging? He literally just started laughing, and then everyone in the room started laughing. He was like, yeah, it's a little different this week. So he's balancing preparing the same way for a game is different, right? Preparation is the same while knowing that the magnitude is higher and it's different. And the way that he's just talked about like the routine and the stuff that they go through leading up to games, right? Whether it be Rutgers or whether it be Michigan, like that is a coach that this is what I mean by confidence. Like I said, it's not the rah-rah, we're gonna kick your ass every time, even though he did say that. But like the confidence I see from him is everything that we do, I know it works because I just won a national championship doing it. So that's where the confidence comes from, of like trusting what you do because you've seen it pay off and you've seen it work. And I think that we saw that displayed from him Tuesday when he did his press conference. Just the way he talked about things, it was very matter of fact. Like, we're gonna do this, that, blah blah blah. Like it sounded like a coach who was saying, "I know what I'm talking about." And maybe he lacked that confidence before because he was 1-3 and then became 1-4 against Michigan. In the biggest moments, he hadn't won. Right, he had lost in the playoff a few times. Right, he hadn't won that national championship. Right, what was his claim to fame at that point of being Ohio State's coach? Winning the game in 2019 or making the national championship, when they lost to Bama, or like, being close against Georgia. Like that's not something you necessarily puff your chest out about if you're an Ohio State coach, right? Ohio State coaches win national titles and beat Michigan. And I think by winning the Natty, it was kind of a way for him to step back and be like, hey, I know what I'm doing as a coach. And I felt like that's the way that he's kind of displayed confidence, whether it be this week or whether it be throughout the season. Just like, I trust my process because I know it works. And that's how he exudes confidence. And then, yes, when he's asked, like, what's fun about this job, he can say kicking ass, right? Like when you're asked directly, you can do things like that. But I think where you see the true confidence, you're just like, I know what I'm doing because I won a Natty doing it.
Same, more, or less confident.
Yeah, I don't know let me say, I don't know if I answered the question. I think
you did. You said more.
You said more word at the top. Yeah, I'm kind of at the same because I've kind of been saying all year that I think they're going to win, because I said it, I think, after last year's title run, but I think the pod where I kind of went in depth with it was when we did our schedule prediction, because I had them 11-1, but I had them losing to Texas and then winning out. I was like, there's too much new, and they're playing a really good team, and it's just, they're going to figure it out as the year goes on, but ... And it's like, I was really kind of thinking about this, and Stefan just kind of laid it out. Like, it wasn't just that the Michigan thing was becoming an issue going into last year. Like, there was a big game conversation to be had, because had he won, it wasn't like James Franklin, but like, had he won big games? Yeah. But also, you're Ohio State, you're more talented than like 98% of the teams in college football in a given year. And there were years where it was like, man, you probably should have won that game against, Clemson in 19, or you should have won that game against this. Like, you could have mapped out like this is a big game thing. And I think last year's run took away a lot of those fears. Think about Ohio State, it's still on like their pinned YouTube page. They call it the greatest run in college football history. And like, it is. I think if some other team wins the national championship this year, they'll say the same thing. Oh, we had to beat this team and that team and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, they went on a run, then beat a Tennessee team that was a playoff team and ranked in the top 10. And then they killed the number 1 team in the country. And then they beat Texas, and then they beat Notre Dame. And all of them were top 10 teams. And then they follow that back up with beating Texas at the beginning of the year. It's like, that's proof of concept. Like, that gives you confidence to a level that maybe you didn't have before. And I think that did a lot. So I was kind of confident about Ohio State all year. I sent Steven and Stefan, I made a meme last night of thinking about Ohio State. It's like, man, you get to the week and you're like, man, the Michigan, the boogeyman is looming there. But I still do think that Ohio State is probably in a good spot here. And I think it's all vibes. We just won a national championship. Why do we have to be afraid of this team in Michigan? Like, why do we have to look at this game and say, this is the biggest game in the entire world? Like, Ohio State played 4 games last year where it was quite literally, there is no tomorrow for you. And I'm not saying that the Tennessee game, there was more pressure on them than the Michigan game. That would be an insane thing to say. But it's not like that Tennessee game lacked pressure. Like, if you lose that football game, the program has fundamentally shifted and changed in a myriad of ways. And there was a lot of pressure on that run, because we said it the whole year. Oh, you lose to Tennessee, doesn't really is things over. You lose to Oregon, okay, cool. You won a playoff game. So what? Oh, you lose to Texas. Oh, well, you what? You won 2 playoff games. Oh, well, you lose to Notre Dame. Well, you still didn't do anything. It's like every week they had to do it, and I think Ryan Day said exactly what I have been thinking about the entire time. There's all this big picture stuff that everybody's going to focus on. We're going to focus on. We're going to dedicate an hour and a half to that show on Wednesday. But it's a football game. There's going to be 11 players on both sides of the field. Toe's going to meet leather at like 12:24 because it's big noon kickoff. And they're going to play Hail to the Victors, and Michigan's going to run out and touch the banner. And there's going to be all the stuff that you always see every year. And it's a football game. And Ohio State is trying to approach it like it's a football game. Because it is. And I think last year, and maybe even the years before, they did not do that.
I do think I wrote about this. I wrote about this after the sorry, Stephen. I wrote about this after the Texas game where Ryan Day walked off the field at Autzen with a 2-6 record in top 5 games. Like the narrative was out there that he was sure it wasn't James Franklin level, but let's not act like 2-6 is some outstanding record in top 5 games. He's now
when you're better than everybody too.
Yes, and like 10 months later, he was 7-6 against top 5 teams. That's crazy.
And it's funny because this is not a top 5 game.
No, I mean it'll probably be when the CFP rankings come out, probably like a top 15 game though.
Yeah, that's actually true because they're going to put Michigan in. More than likely, they're going to put Michigan in a position where we're going to walk away being like, okay, if Michigan wins, they're in. And we're recording this ahead of those rankings, so we'll actually already have known that answer by the time people do that. So this is past Steven saying more than likely Michigan is going to be in a position in those rankings where it is abundantly clear that the message is if they beat Ohio State, they're making the college football playoff because they're not punishing teams for making the conference championships, which I think is right. I think if you can't punish someone for losing a game that you had to earn the right to be in the first place. Just like you can't punish a team for not playing in a game that doesn't exist and they don't have the ability to earn the right to get into. Looking at you, South Bend. Join a conference. But also, if we were that serious about Notre Dame joining a conference, Power Force teams would stop scheduling that. So, works both ways. I thought it was loose. I like when Day is loose. I don't like when Day is, like, too fired up. Because the thing about the Georgia game is, yeah, he was saying all the right things, but he was also, like, loose up there. Because it was like, all right, we got new life. Okay, we're kind of playing with house money. Let's just go, man. Who knows? Let's just go. Let's go win a game, man. Let's just go play ball. And it manifested. Now, he was acting like a psychopath on that sideline that day, but it was like, oh, we didn't even know Day had this in him. We knew Day had him. Like most people, the average person didn't know that Georgia Ryan Day existed. Anyone who has spent any amount of time around Ryan Day knows that Georgia Ryan Day is just normal Ryan Day. Okay, and I think you two are starting to see, oh, he's a little off up there. It's not all there. Which you need that to do what he does for a living. You gotta have a couple screws loose to coach here because it's a pressure cooker that literally doesn't exist anywhere else in college sports. I like when he's loose, right? Because Gillis, he tried to pop into that energy again before Notre Dame in 2023. It didn't hit the same when he didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna let it loose. He had 3 points at halftime.
Yeah, because you're setting yourself up for. Well, you said you were gonna do this and then you didn't do it. All right, man. I'm talking on a podium. I thought he was loose during the playoff last year. I don't think he was uptight. I think he was just like, let's go. Because you're right, Gillis was like, if we don't win this game, it's not going to matter anyway. If we don't win this game, it's not going to matter. So, like, screw it. Let's just go try. Let's go. Let's go just do it.
They had all the tests before.
I like that energy. Because even the way he eventually got around to it with Julian Sand. I felt like 3 people asked him about Julian Sand, including myself, and every answer he gave a little bit more than just coach speak answer. But it all kept coming back to like, dude, just like, don't overthink this, man. Just go play football. Go do you. Don't try to do too much. Don't try to do too little. Just go do. And but that was the message about his team in general. Like, we've been doing this for 11 weeks. We know what we're doing. We're just going to go do it. And yeah, he cursed and that was great. But the overlying message of all of this was like, I'm not going to come up here and overthink it and come out with buzzwords that's going to be popping all over social media. Yes, we're going to turn on some videos. Yes, there is a clock down the stairs from where the cafeteria is that is a literal countdown to the game every single year. No, we're not playing Time of War. It's Time for War on a loop for the next 5 days. No, we're not going to like run through every important reason for why this game matters so much. We're going to acknowledge it's the rivalry. We're going to respect the rivalry. We got traditions that we'll do, and we'll keep those in-house. but we're not going to overdo it. Because at the end of the day, we're just going to go out there and play football for 60 minutes. And if we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to kick some ass. And if we don't do what we're supposed to do, well, then they've got 4 years of examples of what that happens when they don't do what they're supposed to do. And so my vibes were, that's why it was good, because it was just loose.
And yeah, I went in there looking for vibes, and I was looking this up as you were talking there, Stephen. From the Buckeye Talk podcast YouTube page, November 26, 2024, Ryan Day reveals how Ohio State's losses to Michigan have impacted him. So, same song, different dance. And like, how much I was on the lookout for vibes today. When he walked in, my first thought was, all black getup. Interesting. And it like I was on the lookout for everything, and I don't know if it means anything. I don't think it means anything. But I saw like a black like hoodie or whatever and black sweats and black shoes, and I went, interesting. Ryan Day's doing this. Because in that one he was wearing like a gray pullover or something.
Yeah, that's just like coach's gear though.
I know, but that's how keen of an eye I was keeping up with it.
But that hoodie, for starters, I love that hoodie. It's not for sale. Unfortunately, it's just coach's gear. But like I saw James Laurinaitis when I was leaving like he's got it on. Like all the coaches just kind of wear the same thing around this thing is turning into Bama like real quick up here. There's a coach's uniform. All of them got it on. So I think when people wear all black in sporting events, we immediately go, oh, they're locked in. It's like,
right,
exactly. Man. It's like, man, it's just what they gave us today to wear. So it's what I'm wearing.
Yeah, we do have some pressers where he's wearing like a button up, and that's usually because he was like just on like Cowherd or something right before he came and like talked to us. Yeah. So it is funny seeing like Ryan Day when he doesn't have to like. I don't know. You guys have been around me enough. I think my closet and what I wear is very similar to Ryan Day, that we will just wear all black hoodie, joggers, as shoes. So when he walked in, I was like, he's just like me for real.
Ryan Day raided my wardrobe.
Yeah, his professional get up when it's not a suit is like the vest situation.
Yeah,
going on, like the bubble vest. But like, yeah, I mean, he's a football coach. Like, he's wearing hoodies and pants.
The only thing missing was a visor. Really,
which he's got. I don't know if you noticed he wears the same hat the entire year, and he just gets nastier and nastier and nastier throughout the year because of all the sweat that gets on it. It gets disgusting.
Wash hats,
huh?
It's like he can wash the hat. You can wash hats.
Nope. Superstitions, man.
We're talking about sports. That hat's 11-0, bro. You're gonna run some bounties.
Man, you don't wash that hat.
Trust me, you don't have to do that. Like I will say, like you lose a game, wash the hat.
Yeah.
Like they beat Michigan, lose to Indiana, wash the hat going into the playoffs.
You wanna know why he has a beard now?
Because they haven't lost?
No. So when he took over as the head coach, he was fresh. He had no facial hair. And it was like a thing that he had no facial hair. Because then in the offseason, he would grow it out. He would grow out the beard and everything. And so then in 2021, gotta love Tim May, man. Gotta love Tim May. He asked him, because he still had the beard, because fall camp had ended, and it's the Tuesday of the presser before Minnesota. So I think it might have been on a Monday. And Tim asked him, so we're keeping the beard look? And he's like, no, this beard's coming off. No, it's coming off. And so he went back to the fresh face look. They beat Minnesota. They lost to Oregon. Guess who started growing out their beard? Because it's over, right? The streak is, you lost. So now you got to come up with something new. And ever since then, he's had a beard. So I've noticed it the last 2 years. His thing has been the hat. He wears the same practice hat. And I think he starts it in fall camp, and it just runs with him all the way through the season. And the reason I noticed it is because when they lost to Oregon last year, we got in there on a Wednesday evening, new hat. I'm like, oh, so you're the hat guy now. So yeah, don't wash that hat.
Oregon game, he also wore white on the sideline.
He did,
which he
because they had the all white jerseys on, and I think somebody pointed out like they should wear the all white jerseys. It's like they lost the last time they wore the all white jerseys. Yeah, they're not throwing those over Michigan.
He was saying that it was the TCU game where there was like the outfit he had was just all black, and it was that black hat, and he was just like, I guess this is just what I wear now. So that's why when he ran out of Oregon wearing the white, I was like, what are they doing? And then sure enough,
routine.
It is funny though that Ryan Day is making lots of money and he's at a place where he could get all the gear in the world. He's like, no, I'm sticking with this.
Yeah.
I have to stick with, because like we all do the same thing where it's like you have a hat, gets a little dirty, gets a little sweaty. You're like, all right, now this is a gym hat. And like you move down the line. Ryan Day's just keeping the same one.
Yeah, but we also do things where like, I mean, we all played sports at some point in our lives. Like there's it's superstition.
Yeah, you don't have to.
So if something is working for you,
keep it.
You don't Yeah, don't you dare wash that hat. If we walk in there on Wednesday evening and he's got a brand new hat on, my alarm bells are gonna start ringing. Wear the hat.
We're not far away from, like, if he loses another Michigan game or two, he might start wearing like blue in the Woody or something. Be like, something's got to change. Something's got to change.
What would be more alarming to you guys? Ryan Day walking out wearing a white hat on Saturday, or Ryan Day and Ohio State, their first play being inside zone? What would be more worrying?
Because the white hat would tell me that they're going to run inside zone on their first
white
play.
hat is a precursor to we are running inside zone.
Like the inside zone,
the first play of the game.
Yeah, inside zone would catch me off guard if he just did that. But if he's already wearing a white hat, it's going to be a lot of inside zone and duo and HB dive. And I am in trap, and I'm not here for it.
Speaking of, while we're speaking on style, we're losing the plot here a little bit. What have you guys thought of, Steven? I guess you would probably know the best. What have you thought of in the past when they've worn like different uniforms for the rivalry? Because we see, I think we see NFL doing their like rivalry thing now, where it's like, I think it was the Jets and the Bills and the Patriots were playing each other. Like, when it's Bears Packers, like I want Bears home, Packers road jerseys, or vice versa. Like I don't love throwback looks. Just like I don't love like a specific uniform for rivalry.
I think in pro sports, I'm a little less about a tradition, just because it's like you got to keep people interested, and you're trying to pull in all types of demographics of people, and like you love football, so there's a different like I want this for my team versus John from New Mexico who just might be tuning in for a game one week. So I get that. I think with college sports specifically, especially right now where there's like a lot changing in multiple sports, the thing everybody loves about college sports is the tradition, is the pride you have in it. Ohio State's done it a couple times when they've worn throwback jerseys, and I think it just kind of ruins the moment a little bit because you want to go back and look at those games and just remember what it was. I think if they want to pull out the sleeves that they typically now say for the original sleeves, I think that's fine because that's also like your original thing. So I get that. I do like some of the alternates they've worn in the past. I just don't like that they wear them in this game. I think Michigan should wear their traditional jerseys. Now, if they want to do the blue pants instead of the maize pants, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I think you should wear your traditional jerseys and helmets. I do think, however, they should adopt what UCLA and USC do, though. Because I like that. Listen, it's go all in. Scarlet versus maize.
Nope.
No. Andrew doesn't want anything to change. If it were up to Gillis,
Ohio State's road uniforms are better than their home uniforms, in my opinion. I love white on.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
So I don't want them to wear scarlet on the road because I think I think this is a top. This is not a conversation for this pod. It's a top 5 uniform game in all of college football. Uniform helmet game when you have Ohio State on the road going to Michigan. I think it takes a step back when Ohio State comes home and they wear scarlet. And that's not saying that scarlet jerseys are bad. I just think that the white is so good. The white is so clean. And I think that Ohio State should wear their white jerseys on the road games, and they should wear their scarlet jerseys for their home games. Michigan should not wear the blue pants. They should wear the maize pants. The white jerseys are better for Ohio State. Don't show up wearing imagine if they were to wear like the all scarlets or the all grays or like
see now you go on the extreme.
Don't remember what did they wear in like 2010 where they had like the white helmets? Like that's a good look, and I understand it was a throwback look. It was a cool look. You know when you wear that? Wisconsin. You know when you wear that? When UCLA comes to town and it's a night game. You don't wear that for your biggest game. So yeah, I've seen that a lot where it's like, oh, maybe they should just both wear their home uniforms. No. Because Ohio State's road uniform is actually better than their home.
I think both teams should wear their home uniforms. I think it'd be cool. It looks great when UCLA and USC do it.
It looks great there. Yes, it does.
I think it would be dope if Ohio State and Michigan did it. To be fair, Andrew doesn't want anything to change. If it were up to Gillis, we'd still be voting on the national champion.
Not true.
Okay, sorry.
Gillis
robots would be voting
as the best uniforms in college football.
That's insane.
No.
The gold pants don't match the gold helmet.
I don't want to say this week of all weeks, but like
Michigan's got. I don't think
Michigan might have.
I think people generally agree. I think it might make you like gag when you see it if you're an Ohio State fan, but they got a good uniform.
I think the best helmets in college football. I think the reason why Ohio State's helmet is so cool is because it's literally a living organism and it changes throughout. And you're literally seeing someone's development throughout the year. I think that's the concept of what Ohio State's helmet is cool because there's no two helmets that are alike after the first game, right? JJ's helmet is different than Riley Pettijohn's helmet, which is different than Jaden Fielding's helmet, which is different than Tavian St. Clair's helmet, and I think that's cool. And if you get to the fun, like especially last year, I think they like slowed down how quickly people were getting Buckeye leaves last year. And I know some people didn't like it because they were playing in playoff games and there were some people who like half their helmet was still uncovered. But it was cool because it felt like you got to the national championship game and that was the first time you saw someone with a full head of Buckeye leaves. I don't think you can always play it that close to the vest because what happens if you only play to a quarterfinal one year and like nobody filled up their helmet? But at the same time, it's like, well, then you didn't fill up your helmet. That's kind of the thing is you earn the right to fill up your helmet. I think Michigan's is dope because I genuinely think that is the only color scheme that can pull off the wing helmet look, right? Because like Mater Dei does it in high school where their helmet is red and the winged helmet part of it is white, and I just don't like it. Yeah. Michigan's the only people who can pull off the winged helmet.
Oregon does like their okay rendition of it.
It's like the wings, yeah.
Yeah, but then like Oregon,
it doesn't look as good as Michigan. Oregon also just like, I don't know, if Oregon came out with like Indiana candy stripes out ones, I'd be like, okay, it's Oregon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't put Oregon in this conversation because they don't have like a staple look. They just have looks. Which is cool when you're a kid, when you're growing up, especially when Chip Kelly took over Oregon, and that's when they really started popping with the jerseys and stuff. But I don't throw them in this conversation.
I love that idea though. Like to your point, like the classic, which is why I want to stay classic with Ohio State and Michigan. I don't want any like Ohio State, Michigan have two of the best five, and then like elsewhere it's probably like Notre Dame, Texas, USC. So yeah,
Texas is boring. Texas is boring.
It's just Texas is classic, but that's
classic doesn't always mean it's cool. Yeah, they have a great logo, but their helmet itself is boring. It's just white with the logo on it. It's just because something is classic doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's been around for a long time. It's like career statistic numbers. Sometimes it means you were awesome, and sometimes it just means you were around forever. And Notre Dame's is dope because I've been to Notre Dame and I see what the helmet is based off of. And so if you've been to Notre Dame and you have seen the helmet, like the actual building, it gives you a different level of appreciation for the gold helmet, but it's behind those two significantly. Still, with that being said,
I just don't like when Notre Dame's uniform gold doesn't match the gold on the helmet.
Oh, like the pants don't match the
I get it. The pants can't like shine. I get it.
Yeah.
The answer is very logical. I just don't like when it's, or when they've done like, they would do the blue jersey with like the gold like lettering. It doesn't match. Yeah. It doesn't match the helmet. I'm just sitting there being like, it doesn't match. And it kind of throws me off a little bit.
It used to, like, and then they changed their helmets whenever.
It's 2025. Get it to match the helmet. Figure it out.
Well, then they would have to get rid of the helmets that they currently have.
Oh, well, then get rid of the helmets.
Fix the jersey. I'm not saying fix the helmet. I'm saying fix the jersey and the pants. I do like Steven saying, if you've been on Notre Dame's campus, you've seen like the helmet building. As if the building is designed after the helmet.
Yeah, it's like they had the helmets first and then they built the dome.
Yeah, no, the helmet's designed that. No, I know the helmet's after the building. I know which way it is.
No, just the way you said it. You were like the helmet building. It's like, sure.
Because I couldn't remember what the name of the building was. And Gillis, the Notre Dame fan here, wasn't helping me out.
You literally could have just described it and you'd be like, what's that golden dome named? Like, what's the name? You would have had it.
I said the building. Is it really just called the Golden Dome?
It's called the Golden Dome. There's like a basilica of something.
Okay, so that's not its official name. It's the nickname.
I mean, everybody
called the Dallas Mavericks. They're like City Connect one year had like the Dallas skyline. It's like, oh, it's the building from the jersey.
Yeah, it's the jersey.
No, I think it might actually just be called the Golden Dome.
Is it really? We need to find this out now. Because clearly the vibes are what we're talking about.
The vibes are good.
Yeah, clearly.
Last year, I don't think we were having this conversation. And like, I get it. If Ohio State loses on Saturday, and if Buckeye fans are like, this is Buckeye Talk's fault for not taking this seriously, I sincerely apologize.
No, I disagree. Blame. I disagree because last year, I think, to tie this back, like I think last year, we definitely had a few textures that were like, anything can happen in a rivalry game. I'm still nervous. And then we were all just kind of like, Ohio State's going to twist the knife.
Not true.
Steven wasn't.
You two were like that.
Yeah, but we also definitely thought, like, what was we can go
I
back
thought
and look
they
at
were going to win the football game, but I also said multiple times, things get weird in rivalry games. You two, for good reasons, were like, come on, man. Come on. And so, yeah, listen, I will never, ever. I think I'm like this right now because it's Tuesday as we're recording this, Wednesday as people are hearing this. As the week go, I can't be on edge for 5 straight days. That's not good for anybody. I think I will get more rivalry games get weird as we get through the week.
Yeah. We all had them covering, I just pulled it up, we all had them covering a 20.5 point spread.
Yeah. But there's to say like they're going to cover versus like, oh, they're just going to dismiss. Like Stefan was actively dismissive of the idea that Michigan had any chance of winning this game.
I was.
That's what I'm saying.
And I maintain that I was right. Had Chip Kelly not done what he did.
Speaking of Chip Kelly, Ryan Day got asked about Chip Kelly because, of course, he got asked about Chip Kelly because Chip Kelly got fired. I said this to our texter, 614-350-3315, a couple of them. I was like, Chip Kelly belongs in college football, whether he wants to admit it or not. I do. Brian's not thinking about that, about Chip Kelly. But also, if we're in the building in December and we just happen to see Chip Kelly walking through the indoor, I'm not going to be shocked. He said it while he was smiling.
Yeah, I wonder if Ryan was like, he got a call from Chip and Chip was like, hey, I'm free. You want some help? And if Ryan was like, let me call you next week. Because actually, I guess the offense wasn't that great against Indiana last year. Maybe I'll call you in 2 weeks.
Well, no, he's not going to be in charge. He's just, I'll say this. If they win this week, if they take care of business and they get to Indianapolis, and all of a sudden, against Indiana, we start seeing exotic run schemes, that's your answer to whether or not Chip Kelly is currently living in Columbus, Ohio.
And if they run it inside zone a million times against Michigan, then we'll know, oh, he made it this week.
Yeah. He got back. If you hear Brian Hartline cursing somebody out in the press box, just know Chip Kelly got back to Columbus this week. 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. That's it. That's 2 straight days of facts and feelings, news and vibes. Live show Wednesday, 11 a.m. We're going to be talking all things Ohio State and Michigan. Some big picture conversation, but also we're going to turn that to the game preview pod as well. And that'll live in your feeds on Thursday. So we're just moving the game preview pod up a week. I did do a rants call out early this week. I got a lot of good rants, more than maybe I was expecting to get. So there is going to be a bonus pod. We typically don't. We typically just do 4 during Michigan week just because it's Thanksgiving. We try to leave you alone, but there will be a bonus pod in your feed on Friday, brought to you by the Texas 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99. After that, Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday. I'll be there. Stefan will be there. Gillis will be there. See you after the game.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here, wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.